Someone needs to explain to me what it is they mean when they say, well, we're going out and we're going to go to a few pubs and then we're going to have a sit-down meal. What's a sit-down meal? I mean, do you normally stand up and have it? This one's got a chair. Everyone can have a chair, sit down and eat it. We're having a sit-down meal. It's like that fallacy when they say, live jazz. Well, live jazz and a sit-down meal in a new little restaurant that we found. It was lost down a little back alley, and we're going to have a sit-down meal with some live jazz. Well, that's better than listening to some dead jazz, standing up eating, isn't it? By Divine Paradox. The other thing that sort of winds me up in terms of people's terminologies, it's when they say things like the Americans are going to have dildos, little dildos attached to their handbags as a protest against gun crime. But you see, in my book, and you can call me old-fashioned if you like, I don't mind. In my book, I would have thought, that a Smith & Wesson or a Colt 45 against your head, fired, will do you far more damage than a little lady's pink finger rammed up your ass. You know what I'm saying? I used to drink a lot at one time. I know you won't think so to look at me, but I used to drink a lot at one time. I thought it made me good looking and charismatic like that Yul Brynner or Robert Mitchell. But it didn't. It just caused problems. I used to go through a lot of mattresses. Not through them, they were just saturated. I had to get rid of them. I tried wringing them out, but it was hard. Have you ever tried to wring a mattress out? It's dead hard. It's hard to hold one side while you're twisting the other side. It's a bit of a job and a half, that. A sit-down meal. There's a thing in it. See what other bits I can get out of this. Imagine Michael Buffer on his honeymoon. It'd be funny, wouldn't it? Yeah, they have pizza bread, but they don't have Paul bread. That's funny, isn't it? The HSBC are going to leave the UK because of the, because of the escalating price of taxes. Why can't they just get a minicab like anyone else? Not that expensive. You book it in advance. But I found anyway. Went to the shop this morning. I was there ages. Finally got served. Give the bloke me money. Got my paper. And he said to me, I'm sorry about your weight. I said, who's told you? I said, I'm only 14 stone, but I am on a diet at the moment, you cheeky bastard. You know what I mean? Anyway, I went to the church, asked them to pray for me. I'm thinking of becoming a Christian, but I said to them if you can pray for me. And there was a girl at the side of me, right, because I had my eyes closed while they were laying their hands on me. They were saying, Heavenly Father, Jesus, this, that and the other. But I could hear this noise at the side. It was a girl. And she was speaking in tongues. But you know what she sounded like? She sounded like a rabbit eating sweet corn. Not like that. All the way through this thing, they were saying, Heavenly Father, they would like to pray for Tom's health, for Adrian's health. And then the priest said to me, the guy running the laying of the hands, the prayer worship thing, he said to me, what health problems have you got, Mr. Buick? So I said, it's my arse. And he says, okay, so Heavenly Father, we lift Tom's arse to you. And we hope that you can redeem Tom's arse and cleanse Tom's arse and make it new, make his arse quite new. And then he said to me, he said, what's been happening with your arse? I said, how do you mean? He said, well, what's wrong with your arse? I said, it's bleeding. It's been bleeding a while. So he says, Heavenly Father, if we can just lift up Tom's bleeding arse to you, in the hope that it will stop bleeding and be made anew, and shut off the supply. And the girl was carrying on doing the finger, which really put me off, you know what I mean? I thought she was just like a plague of locusts at the side of me, doing me head in, to be honest with you. So that didn't really work. I went to hospital and they said I needed an endoscopy. So they sent me these bags of powder. And these bags of powder, I'll tell you what, never seen anything like it in your life. It's like powdered aluminium dust, and you have to mix it with water and drink 2 litres of it in an hour. And it stresses. You've got to be near the toilet. I thought, well, you know, I know where the toilet is. You're always near the toilet. You're never that far away from a toilet unless you sort of, you know what I mean, work on in the desert or somewhere like that, or climbing a mountain. But after I drank half a litre of it, I realised why they said that, because this particular drink, it was like a Chernobyl slammer, because my arse was like a Boeing 747. It just exploded everywhere. I had to make it to the toilet. It was like Vesuvius coming out of my arse. I gets in the toilet and everything in my system, even a couple of loose ribs, came out, flew down the toilet, cracked the ivory actually, and then after a bit, all that was coming out was just red hot water. Just red hot water coming out my arse. It was making it throb. It was ripping the skin off my rectum wall passages. And I was nearly crying. I had migraine with the velocity of this water coming out my back passage. But when all that was done, I noticed it even took thoughts out of my mind. It took tomorrow's thoughts out. Everything came out my arse. So I finally went to the hospital the following day. Couldn't eat or drink anything. And I went in there and this Chinese bloke shouted my name out, and I went over to see him. And I said, what are you shouting at? He says, your name Adrian Buick Jr. I said, yeah, that's my name. He says, you know what I'm going to do to you, don't you? I said, yeah, everybody keeps telling me. He said, well, I'll go through it again with you. I'm going to put a bracelet on your hand. And then we're going to insert a camera into your bottom passage. I said, you putting a camera up my arse? He said, yeah. I said, what sort is it? Is it a Nokia or a Canon? He said, never mind what sort of camera it is. He said, you won't even see it, you won't even know about it. I thought, I hope it hasn't got a fucking flash on it, you know what I mean? So anyway, he said, take your clothes off. Put them in the corner there. And he said, put these clothes on. And what he gave me was like this house coat, cotton sheep thing from Aldi. And then he says, put this other one on. It was like a pregnant woman's smock. And then these cardboard underpants with a back door, like a bit like, to be honest, a rabbit hutch door with wing nuts. Cardboard underpants they were. So I've gone, put these on. I was in with trap 3 little traps of toilets, cubicles they were, with like stable doors. And then I put these clothes on and put all my other clothes into a bag. I mean, I look like a mental tramp, to be honest. I had these boots, cardboard underpants, pregnant smock, bit of an house coat, plastic bracelet, like the catwalk, man. So I've come out of there and I've gone round the corner to this waiting room, really. There was an old bloke in there reading avidly. He didn't take any attention to me at all. But what I did notice in there, the window was wide open and the Venetian blind was smashing against this fish tank. Mental, it was like something out of the Omen. So when he got shouted out, and he started hugging the nurses and jumping up and down as if he'd just come back from Crete or something after being held hostage. But he must know him, he must know these people. His family probably work here, like a bit of nepotism, that. You know, his arse is getting favouritism there. So anyway, I started thinking maybe he's getting like his annual anal arse tunnels done. Blasting out years and years of caked up clinkers. I thought, well, never mind his arse tunnels. What about my arse tunnels? I want them cleaning out today. Never mind him. He's history. Next thing, I've shut the window, by the way, and the Shabunkins were giving me the thumbs up. They were pleased about that, because that tank was going to explode with the damage of it smashing into it all the time. It's like a gale force 9 coming. So this woman shouted me out, and I've gone into this. It was a cross between an office and a laboratory. It was like the Starship Enterprises utility room. Computers in there, experimental jars of limbs and stools in sort of big tanks. Things moving about in mucus and bromide. It was weird. Ectoplasm everywhere. Formaldehyde. So I've gone in, and then she said to me, can you get in this cot? It was like a cot, a baby's cot, but the bars were only about 6 inches high, so you couldn't wriggle out. Once you were in there, you were trapped. It was like a lobster trap, really. So I've got in. She said, take your boots off and move up. I thought she was going to get in with me, but there was 3 other blokes in there. They would have been watching. They should have been trying to get up to something with me, you know. So nobody introduced herself to me. They just carried on looking at the computer. I don't know if they were having a bet or playing poker or something, you know. They were very engrossed in something. And then she said, you know what we're going to do to you, don't you? And I said, well, everybody keeps telling me, but nothing's happening, you know. And then she says, if you can wriggle up and push your bottom out a bit more, Mr. Buick. I said, OK. So I pushed my bottom out. And she said, Mr. Buick, push your bottom out a bit more, please. And I said, yeah, that's as bad as I can get it. She said, we need your bottom pushed out a bit more. And I said, well, why? She said, so the doctor can get at it. So he can get at my ass. I pushed it out more. Straining it, I was. And then she's undone the wing nuts on the cardboard underpants. And I felt a draft straight away going up my Bakerloo line. And then this head appeared. Omar Sharif, he looked like, this fella. And she says, hello, Mr. Buick, you know what we're going to do to you, don't you? And I said, look, just do it, pal. Don't keep saying that, because everyone's pulling this. I don't know if you're winding me up or what. So he says, we're going to put a camera in your bottom. I said, well, go on then. I said, can I have a look at it? It's a big one. What is it, 35mm? He said, no, it's a tiny, tiny camera. About the size of a drinking straw. And I thought, oh, that's a bit weird then, isn't it? So anyway, he disappeared again. It's like Sooty coming out of a box, and then he's disappeared, you know what I mean? And then he says, I just could feel this like swarfiga, this really cold foot swarfiga on my chocolate starfish. And I thought, oh, that was a shock. That woke me up a bit, that. Because she's put a drip in, and I started to go all woozy and unnecessary. And I thought, I don't care what happens now. I was just tripping at that point. I was tripping. And then the chocolate starfish swarfiga's been slammed into me rabbit hutch doors. And then all of a sudden I heard someone shout, contract, we're in. And then someone's picked the phone up and says, John, we're in, tell Sheila we're in. Someone's opened the door, shouted down the corridor, Malcolm, tell everyone in the canteen, we're in. Slam the door. Then someone's appeared on Skype from Mugabe, from Uganda, and said, we're in, are we in? I said, yeah. He said, yeah, we're in. And I thought, what are they in? And I looked on the screen, and it looked like a ride on Fort Park, one of them stimulators. Not a stimulator, simulator. And what they were in my arse. The camera was in my arse and moving at a rate of knots. And I thought, can you imagine if there's a tour guide on that ride on Port Park going through my arse? It'd be saying, it's like a Marx Brothers sketch, that, wasn't it? Any minute now the tour announcer's going to say, and ladies and gentlemen, here we are, deep inside Tom Wilson's vile, stinking, vacuous arsehole. And if you look to your left, you'll see an array of dead and dying perforated hemorrhoids. And if you dare to look to your right, you'll see some shattered, distraught, small nerve endings that have been savaged by years of constantly opening and slamming his arse-foretold doors like A&E casualty doors. Like a veritable aperture shutter speed of a faulty camera. In fact, his entire arse department has been vandalised, torn asunder due to overuse. Even his rectum canal gates have been severely buckled beyond repair. Through constant comings and goings, a diagnosis of indeterminate colitis. Through mountains of unidentified shitus. Well, when it was finally over, a poor battered and abused arse was frothing like a baboon that's been gang raped by a rampant pack of yetis on industrial Viagra. I was still alive. He showed me these pictures of what was going on inside my arse canals. Looked like giant maggots that had exploded, big bruises on red flesh. Casualties of the anal resistance. Bits of horrible craters of war wounds, but ever since then I've stayed away from heavy curries. And I've only wiped my arse with that soft baby wipe stuff or aloe vera. And I've tried not to slam the canal doors. You know, with the comings and goings, with the midnight meals and the farm food visits. Anyway, thanks for listening.